Ever get that feeling like, wow, information really does spread like wildfire these days? It's incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
one minute something's trending online, the next, everyone's talking about it.
It's true. It's like everywhere you turn.
But have you ever stopped to think, like, what if we didn't have the internet? What if we didn't even have, like, printing presses?
Oh, wow.
What if every single book, every copy of, like, anything
Yeah.
had to be written by hand?
Yeah.
That was the world before Gutenberg.
It's hard to even imagine, right? Like how different things would be.
Totally. And that's what we're diving into today.
Yep.
Johannes Gutenberg, the printing press, and how this one invention, well, it kind of changed everything.
This is one of those things where it's like you learn about it in history class, but you don't really think about like all the ways it still affects us.
Totally. So let's set the stage. It's like the 1400s. You want a book. Good luck.
Right.
You're going to have to find a scribe, someone who can actually, like, write.
And they're going to be in high demand, let me tell you.
Yeah, seriously. And even if you find someone, get ready to empty your pockets. Those handwritten books, they weren't cheap.
They were like luxury items, works of art almost.
Totally. And that's where our guy Gutenberg comes in.
And here's the thing, right? You might think, okay, printing press, this has got to be some like scholar, some inventor who's been, locked away in a lab for years.
Right.
But Gutenberg, he was actually a blacksmith and a goldsmith.
I know. Talk about a plot twist.
It's kind of perfect, though, when you think about it. I mean, he's working with metal. He understands how to make molds. He's got this practical, hands-on knowledge.
It's like the perfect background for this kind of invention.
Exactly. And that's what's so fascinating about innovation, right? It often comes from these unexpected places. Like Gutenberg, he didn't invent printing from scratch.
Right.
He was really good at, like, bringing existing ideas together. Like, think about the wine press. You've got this mechanism for pressing juice out of grapes, right?
Okay.
And then you've got the coin punch, which is all about making identical copies. Bam!
It's like those two things smashed together created the printing press.
It's all about that synthesis. And Gutenberg was a master at that. So he comes up with this system of movable type.
Movable type. So like each letter is its own little piece of metal.
Exactly. And they're all uniform, so you can arrange them, lock them into place, ink them up, and press them onto paper.
Wow. So no more like painstakingly copying out each individual letter.
Nope. And because these metal letters are durable, you can use them over and over again.
Okay, so this is already blowing my mind.
And to top it all off, Gutenberg figures out this whole thing with oil-based ink.
Why oil-based?
It dries slower, which is key for this whole process.
Yeah.
And it's more durable, so the print doesn't smudge.
That's so smart.
Right. So you put all of this together, the movable type, the press itself, the ink, and suddenly you're not just making copies anymore, you're mass producing them.
Wow. It's like the first factory line
Yeah.
for books.
Exactly. And just like that, knowledge, ideas, they're no longer these scarce, precious things.
It's like the moment the internet was invented.
Yeah.
But like hundreds of years earlier.
There. Yeah. It's a good analogy. So Gutenberg's printing press, it starts cranking out books. And let me tell you, this was huge G. Like, literacy rates started to climb, more people had access to information, and the whole world started to shift.
This is my favorite part, though. Like, you've got to wonder if Gutenberg had any idea what he was unleashing.
Right. It's the whole unintended consequences thing.
Exactly. Like, his goal, at least initially, was to print Bibles. Right?
Yeah, make religious texts more accessible, which in itself was a radical idea at the time.
Totally. But then it's like, bam, Reformation.
Right. Because once you give people the tools to spread information, well, they're going to use them.
And they definitely did. I mean, think about it. Pamphlets debating religious doctrine, scientific discoveries challenging centuries-old beliefs, political treatises calling for revolution.
All of that made possible by the printing press. It's like this one invention, it didn't just make things faster and cheaper, it actually gave people a voice.
It's mind-blowing. So for our listeners today, especially those who are like really into innovation, what can we learn from Gutenberg's story?
Well, I think one of the biggest takeaways is that innovation often comes from combining existing ideas in new ways. Like, Gutenberg didn't invent the printing press out of thin air. He looked at what was already out there, the wine press, the coin punch, and he found a way to bring them together.
It's like that old saying, there's nothing new under the sun. It's just about seeing those connections.
Exactly. So lesson one, don't be afraid to borrow, to remix, to synthesize. That's where the magic happens.
I love that.
And then the second big lesson, I think, is to be prepared for unintended consequences.
Yeah.
Like Gutenberg probably didn't set out to spark the Reformation.
Right.
But that's the thing about innovation. It has this ripple effect. You put something new out into the world, and it can have these huge, unpredictable consequences.
It's kind of like a reminder that even if you think you've got it all figured out, life will find a way to surprise you.
Exactly.
So as we think about Gutenberg and the printing press, it really makes you wonder, what's the next big thing? Like, what world-changing innovations are happening right now under our noses that we might not even realize the full impact of for, like, centuries?
It's a great question, and I think the answer is probably, well, everywhere. Like, who knows what those seemingly small discoveries today will lead to in the future?
It's exciting and a little bit scary too, right?
Definitely. But hey, that's innovation for you.
That's a wrap.